My name is Maz Rugwekaza. I'm from IFAK. I'm in a 6 MCE, Mathematics, Computer, and Economics. I feel very anxious, nervous, but I also feel a little bit confident because I did prepare, and I'm hoping this goes well.
My name is Malaka Dawaga, and I'm feeling confident and anxious.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucille, and this is another debate competition from I Debate Rwanda. Today, I'm with my fellow judge. Let's give him time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Wahide, and I'll be judging this debate round with Lucille, so that's it.
The jury, the proposition side, and the opposition side, good morning. My name is Utese Oragracia, and I'm from the proposition side of this debate. The motion states that this House believes that curfews are really effective in this time of the pandemic. Over the past year, world leaders have had to make high-stakes decisions regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, having to choose some measures over the others to ensure minimal spread of the COVID-19 virus, while at the same time ensuring the state's economic stability. Nighttime curfews were one of the numerous measures taken. I start by defining the key terms. Curfews means a regulation requiring people to remain indoors between specified hours, typically at night. Maybe a lockdown can also be defined as a 24-hour curfew because it is specific time. Effective means successful in producing a desired or intended result. The pandemic is an epidemic occurring worldwide or over a very wide area, crossing international boundaries and usually affecting a large number of people. So we have international, it's a debate that's not limited to Rwanda or any other country. Then really means very or thoroughly. So with our side, we believe that curfews are really effective in this time of the pandemic because we should first ask ourselves, why should we put on the curfew? The major aim or the objective of putting on the curfews is to cap down the spread of the disease. And is it really doing this? Are we capping down the numbers? According to RBC, numbers have reduced from hundreds to 20s to 10s when the curfew policy is established. And as I've told you, curfews are not limited to night-hour curfews. Even lockdown can be a 24-hour curfew. Then, in this time of the pandemic, we used SOPs, standard operating procedures, like washing your hands, sanitizing, social distancing. But is it really effective even at night? So we need something else. Do you think that the policeman will be able to control if you're putting on a mask even at night, at midnight? Very hard. It can be very hard to control people, but it is easier to control people that they are in their homes at 9 p.m., all that stuff. So another thing, another reason why we're supporting this motion is that it has increased the awareness of COVID-19 and other SOPs. Like washing hands and sanitizing cannot do that as the curfews has achieved that. For example, people are afraid that they may be charged, they may be fined when they're not in their homes at the specified time. So in this case, we're increasing awareness of the disease because everyone knows that there is COVID-19. Even that someone who didn't know about washing hands or social distancing now knows about the time of reaching home. So it has increased awareness of the COVID-19. Another thing, it has increased the chances of meeting, like the time interval, It's not the same thing that people can meet maybe from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The risks of spreading the disease is not the same as meeting all day, like 24 hours. So it has really been effective. And I would like to quote Dr. Arthur, who said that on BBC that if curfews were set during the 1918 Spanish flu, there would have been less death than they were seen. 58 million people died that time. The population was very low, but people died because they didn't apply this curfew. So we all need to know that curfews are really important. And another thing is that it brings an observable change. As I've told you, it's really effective, like it's tangible. The results are tangible. You can see that, for example, when the numbers would grow high, they would establish the curfew. Why do you think so? Why do you think also the SOPs, like the washing hands, the social distancing was still not enough. Why do you think the lockdown was put there? Because it was not enough on its own. So curfews are really playing the role in curbing down the spread of the disease. And that's why here I'm saying that they're really effective in this time of the pandemic. Because what do we need in this time? We need health, we need to save lives, we need to help people, we need to, this is the job of the government. So with all this, I believe that everyone should support the government. We should not oppose our government. We should all try to abide by the rules. We should all try to understand. Let's believe in this. Let's believe that together we can make it. Let's obey them. Let's obey the rules. Together we can win this virus. Together we can win this pandemic. And with this, I invite the opposition side to come to side. Like, it's okay? Thank you.
Opposition side, good morning. I often recommend people to set their mental compass to search for the scientific consensus on an issue. This is great in theory, but this consensus is often an intangible idea. Where do you find it when it exists? How do you recognize it? You may trust that respectable media outlets will choose to interview the right scientists to give voice to this consensus on the issue of curfews. However, those scientific voices are all over the place. In the context of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, a curfew can be defined as a stay-at-home order during specific time periods with the goal of reducing the transmission of the coronavirus. I spent a day reading news articles about the worth of this particular measure, and the scientists and physicians interviewed simply could not agree. Some argued there was no evidence curfews worked. Others put forward the notion that they must work because they make intuitive sense. One justification I heard for them is that they signal to the population that things have gotten very serious. As it turns out, determining if curfews do indeed work is very, very difficult. Calculating their possibility takes us down crossroads littered with assumptions, and the evidence we do have is imperfect and piecemeal. Our plan of action in this debate is to actually test whether curfews are effective, whether they're effective. We are not looking at the theoretical view, which I think is one of the problems that the opposition side will have. We are looking at the statistics. And in case you didn't know, the statistics at this point, I'll give you time, thank you. And the statistics at this point, worldwide, there have been 160 million cases, 95.5 million recorded cases, and 3.33 million dead. And these countries have not been able to handle the pandemic effectively because, first of all, curfews. And curfews need to be implemented with other things such as mask mandates and lockdowns, which also test the effectiveness of curfews. Hence, curfews are not effective, which is what we will be talking about, which is what the second speaker and the third speaker would be personally aiming at throughout the whole of this debate. Popular culture, especially crime-solving shows featuring very smart protagonists, has taught us that most readers are simple education away from getting solved. In reality, solving problems often rely on inferences, and that's a problem in and of itself. Inferences are best guesses, but they may not always be right. Let's imagine a city in the grips of the coronavirus. Starting tonight, we will impose a curfew. Will it work? That is the question that we must ask ourselves. Will it reduce the number of cases? Will it effectively stop the number of cases and actually help us get rid of this virus and this pandemic as a whole? So we ask the proposition side to actually prove us that these curfews are effective, and they will, and show us statistics and show us how this will really help us reduce the pandemic. Yes.
Thank you for starting. I would like to remind you that on this debate, we're not talking about how effective curfews are, because yes, they're effective, but the difference is that we're talking about how they are really effective. Really, you see the difference? That's to say that they're very effective, because they really are effective, but we just want to know if they're really effective. So please do not go astray again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. What is the definition of a curfew? On Google, curfew is a regulation requiring people to remain indoors between specified hours, typically at night. And what we are doing is proving that curfews are not effective, exactly, are not really effective. Sorry, if that's what you mean. As we continue, the plan of action will include defining how curfews need more extended period to be effective, unlike lockdowns. Efficiency of curfews also depends on where you are in the pandemic and the number of cases and the number of deaths you have. They are not as effective as on their own and should be therefore combined with the other measures. Although curfews make intuitive sense, it is very hard to discern their precise effects on viral transmission, let alone transmission of the coronavirus. Curfews reduce the spread within the community but raise the risk of infection within households. And we will also be talking about, overall, this whole debate will be, the second speaker will be talking about the overall ineffectiveness of curfews in this time of the pandemic and how these curfews are not really effective and we need to find another plan of action. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Dennis Mwadi, and I am standing on the proposition side of the motion. Are really effective in this time of the pandemic. As clearly as the first speaker from our side defined the curfews as well. Sorry, forgive me. She defined the curfews as a regulation requiring people to remain indoors between specific hours, typically at night. We also defined a major term that the opposition side failed to view as really is very thoroughly, for other words to define it. We focused on whether curfews are really effective. Well, to dig deep into the points of the first speaker, opposition side, he came up front, gave us points and gave us statistics and told us that he needed statistics, that he needed points to prove whether or not they were really effective. Well, as the first speaker said, she came up front, gave statistics from RBC, stated that the coronavirus coronavirus patients reduced from thousands to around hundreds in a few months due to curfews. And we still stand on that point and show you all that curfews are indeed effective in this time of the pandemic. So the first speaker of opposition side did come front, tell us how intangible the idea of a curfew is, how calculating the evidence of how a curfew is quite you can calculate the evidence quite well, how curfews are not effective, how there are no statistics to show how effective they are, how they need more tangible reasons to why curfews need to be they need statistics, they need money, they need words, they need numbers. Well, as the proposition side, we did come in front with numbers. We came with points proving the fact that curfews during the 1918 Spanish flu, which we're going to highlight, is the number of people that suffered from the 58 million people died, and due to the fact that curfews were not input during the time, they were not put there, they were not viewed or seen during that time, thus causing the problem. And now that we have introduced curfews, we have learned the fact that people can be controlled. We have learned that curfews over time, that with SOPs, standard operating procedures, them being there does not quite mean that people will be controlled. Well, during the day, there will be time. During the day, there will be time for economic work. There will be all these things that will indeed keep the economy standard. And at night, when it's really hard for people when it's really hard for the government to keep people in one place, there will be lockdown. There will be curfew. Well, we'll keep on going. We'll talk about the third speaker will talk about it all. We'll summarize our points and our stance. We do believe curfews, and we do believe that other SOPs do make a change during the pandemic. But curfews have made a good yes.
What is the definition of effective?
Well, effective is successful in producing a desired and intended result. Curfews were intended to reduce the number of people. Have they? Yes, they have. Have they? Yes, they have. And we still stand on that. And we believe that because curfews have been put there, and because curfews are still there, and they have lifted and reduced the number of people there. And we still believe as the proposition side, and we ask you to join us right now, to join our side, because curfews are indeed the next change of this pandemic. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone present here in this room. My name is Nirukunda Rajil, and I'm the second speaker on the opposition side. First of all, I have a question that I want your third speaker to answer. So you say that RBC stated that coronavirus patients have decreased in this few months. So if they have decreased in this few months, like you're saying, and you're saying that that is because of the curfew, then if that curfew is really effective, why is it that its hours keep on changing? Like, it used to be at 8, it became at 9, it once became at 7. Why does it keep on changing if it's really effective? No, not now. So why does it really keep on changing if it is really effective? It used to be it was once at 9, it became at 8, at 7, and now it's at 10. And I think that is because it is really not that effective. That is why even the hours keep on changing, because it doesn't have really a desired output. And also you say that, no, I'll give you time. Successful, you say that your meaning of effectiveness is successful in achieving a desired output. Now, I find that due to other measures that were taken, some workers are not allowed to work. Like, not all workers are working right now. Even at that night time, they have to close early, which means that a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people, like many business people, have their income, their profits have decreased because of this curfew. So according to your definition of effectiveness, how is that really effective? Okay.
Pandemic, we actually need to cap down the spread, not to earn more money. So it is effective as far as capping down the disease is concerned, not as far as earning money is concerned. Another thing, as about changing hours, it's all about elasticity and flexibility. That's how effective it is, because it can change, it can be flexible, it can be adjusted. That is its effectiveness, dear. It is effective, because when the numbers increase, they reduce hours. If the numbers reduce, they decrease the numbers. So that is how effective it is. It's flexibility.
I personally think that if it was really that effective, like you're saying, then they would just have like set hours. Okay, allowed.
Thank you, Honorable. I'd like to tell you that the COVID-19 virus has become more advanced and is more stronger. It can attack the human body and make it weaker, so it's becoming worse. So why should we not raise the hours for the curfew? So you do
Thank you
understand
very
that.
much. If it is increasing, why did it come from 8 to 9 and now it's at 10 to 4 a.m.? Why did they reduce those curbing hours? No more pure eyes, please. Why did they reduce those hours if it was really that effective? That's what I would like to talk about. And also, I found that it is not really effective because it has, like you say, that it has decreased the number of people getting infected. But I also think that that is because of other methods that have been used before, like during the daytime. If they, like, no more pure eyes. Those methods that have been used during the day are the reasons why those... because you didn't come here and tell us the statistics of people who get infected during the night to show that that curfew is really effective. Thank you, I rest my case.
So I am Honorable Malaika Ndavaga, and I'm here to discuss, to remind you, to help you see, to enlighten you and educate you about how curfews are not just effective, but they're really effective. We're emphasizing on that, but you keep going astray, but it's okay, it's okay. Take your time, we will help you either way. And it's on the motion that states that this House believes that curfews are really effective in this time of a pandemic. You know the pandemic, it's the COVID-19. My fellow debaters have really tried their best to emphasize and explain to you the key terms in this debate. I really do hope you can keep up, okay? So the thing is that I have a dream when I go to sleep. A dream of no longer wearing a mask, a dream of no longer having to keep away from my loved ones. And you know the only way that I see that dream happening? It's that if curfews keep paving my way to get to that. Because it is the curfews that have raised awareness. Ebola has existed, AIDS existed, all those. None of those brought up curfews. But this scares a young kid who used to get used to going to school every day, but now stays home with mom and dad. Hold up, I'll give you time. Now, a kid, that raises the fear. And that fear is what's going to make us work harder. It's going to make us work harder to avoid that disease. This curfew that you keep criticizing has had observable changes. Now imagine going from numbers of thousands to tens, two-digit figures of victims. Now you keep asking us, Second Honorable, that why we keep changing the time. We tell you that that's how good a curfew is, because it's elastic, because it can change. We keep telling you, but you don't listen now. I want to tell you that this is Rwanda we're talking about. This is a country that has gotten better each and every day, and that is why we keep reducing the curfew, and that's good. But what about the rest of the world? What about smaller countries? What about countries with bigger populations? No, they should keep on their curfews. Are you keeping up, really? So, and you keep criticizing it, but you put aside and you do not consider, you're not putting into consideration that these are considerate curfews. They keep the pharmacies open, they keep the hospitals open, they keep the doctors and nurses at work, taking care of those patients that you're not putting into consideration. You're talking about the economic side of things, you're making it a political stand. It is not. It is about the worth of a human life. I'm trying to make you see the worth of a human life, your own life, my life, your parents' life, your sister, okay? That child that's just about to be born seconds from now. I want you to give them value. Do you understand that, okay? This the government, it's the government that puts on such a curfew, okay? This is the government that we for years have defined as a government for the people, by the people, okay? For the people, by the people, I'm coming by the people. So why? Why would they do something so wrong to us? Why would they make such a bad decision to disagree for us? Okay, Honorable, you had something to say. Yes. Say now.
Okay, so what about, you just say that the curfews, the economic and everything that you just said, so I would like to ask, so do you think that people know how aggravated COVID is because of the curfew? That's my first question. The other question is that, what about that pressure people have when they're going home, running?
Thank you so much. Hurry up, my time is...
And some end up going into accidents.
Now it's regardless of the accident. Put the accident aside, okay? They're going to get home. They're going to be in. They're going to be in their families. They're not going to be in contact with many people. And that is, once again, the curfews getting to what they need to do. Curfews need to keep us safe, okay? Curfews are not God, okay? They just need to do their job, which is keeping us safe. And they're doing that. I just need you to see that, okay? And as I close, I would like to remind you that we, as humans, evolve. We have to learn from our mistakes. Like what happened with the Spanish flu. The curfews could have done better. They weren't there. They're here now. And we should appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, proposition and opposition, dear judges, dear audience. I'm by name Nkurunziza Mbuto Davi, and I'm the third speaker of the opposition side. First of all, I would like to come again on what the proposition side have told us. First of all is they've clearly stated that the primary mission of this curfew is to cut the spread. This was said by the first speaker. So the aim wasn't getting profit, okay? So how do you expect people to fight if there's no, let's say, masks, which those SOPs, which are oftenly bought by that mullah they make? So if they can't survive, what's the point of the curfews if their only result is getting people out of their jobs and them not surviving? The main point of that, I'll give you time for that. The main point of curfew is to let people stay safe. This makes me come to what the third speaker has said, that it's about life. So then, it's seen that for its implementation, it has more harms than good. But there's where they have instituted that as a measure of protecting people and has resulted in harming them. So, giving you a case study, in Philippines, children face abuse for violating COVID-19 curfews, where, for the first case, 5 children were locked up inside a dog cage after breaking curfew in Laguna province in the Philippines, and that was on March 20, 2020. And they were stripped naked. So if curfews are made just for the safety of people, then curfews should come as a response. And then, let's say that in that case, they were locked up in I'll come back to that later. They were locked up in a cage. So if they don't even have centimeters of freedom or that social distancing. So if that curfew leads only to that, those violations, those rights and everything, people are starving because of that, because they had fines and everything. So, as you can see, that's a clear example of that. That's not effective. They're just spreading fear and everything, but they're not resulting. Granted.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
Yes.
We're all adults here, so let's try and be honest, okay?
Yeah.
You talked about the kids. So you
Yeah.
know the proverb, once burnt, twice shy.
Mm-hmm.
For you to stop jumping on your mom's couches, it took a little spanking, a little beating, okay? So do you think those kids will ever miss the curfew again? They have learned it, not just them, but the kids who saw them too know that by whatever curfew they say, they should be home, that they should wear masks. They learned their lesson, and that is, again, the curfew performing its work, okay? And thank you. And which kind of abuse are you talking about? I mean, you didn't specify. Maybe it's a dark room, their bedroom. I mean, there's literally no specification in what you're saying. What's your source?
Okay, my source is from the humanrightswatch.com, where there's also a clear picture of them locked up in a dog cage. So when I'm talking about that curfew is just the main aim of this curfew is to keep people safe and from spreading that virus. So let's take an example. If one of them has the virus, they isolate them all in this dog cage. Do you think that they're preventing the spread or they're causing it? Yeah, I'm answering it. Okay, for that reason, they keep in fear and they keep revolting themselves. That has caused a lot of rebellion. You can't tell me that hasn't caused rebellion. And then, coming on what you've said also, on the Spanish fever, and of all the... Thank you very much. I rest my case.
Hello everybody, my name is Anne Grace Mbabazi. I work for the University Canada West. Today I'm speaking to you about the university and inviting you to join us in the next intake, the fall intake. So we are a business-oriented university. We offer a couple of scholarships and we are located in Canada. So if you're interested to study in Canada in any business-related courses, then University Canada West is the right place for you. We'll be waiting for you. Our classes will be open for face-to-face classes starting this October intake. So welcome at University Canada West.
My name is Rebecca Miles. I'm coming back for the reply speech. I would like to highlight what the proposition side has been saying throughout the whole debate, things that I found very questionable. First of all, I would like to say that the statistics you have given us, you have not given us any references, and for all we know, you could be lying to us. Secondly, you defined the purpose of curfews as, you defined it as, purpose of curfew defined it as, it is reduced, purpose of curfew is to reduce diseases transmission while not completely disrupting people's lives or instituting a community-wide lockdown. And you also, which is not true, the purpose of curfews, we are testing the overall, throughout the whole debate, we have been testing the overall effectiveness of curfews, and the purpose of curfews has not been fulfilled. Since the pandemic, the cases are still rising. It is not providing quantifiable results and helping us destroy this pandemic and henceforth live in a better place and go back to how things were before. At this time of the pandemic, I find that you have left out something very important in the motion, which is the time of the pandemic. And we have provided statistics at this time of the pandemic, that the time of the pandemic has become a big problem, right? It has increased increasingly and increasingly. People are getting cases everywhere, and the vaccine is not even working. It's not even, the COVID-19, yes, it's not even working. COVID-19 is something that is evolving throughout every day, and it's becoming a big problem, hence the ineffectiveness of curfews. We've also given worldwide facts. Taiwan, 153 cases, 12 deaths. New Zealand, 266 cases, 26 deaths. Iceland, Singapore, and Vietnam. And what all of these countries have in common is that they all have shown a great mastery in disease control through various methods, which include lockdowns, mask mandates, effective mask mandates. But curfews haven't been working out. Thank you very much. We are proud.
Once again, I'm back for the reply speech by the names of Ora Gracia City. So I'm here to emphasize and tell you how we want this debate. The speaker from the reply speech was full of new points, which you never received, about the vaccine, about everything. I don't know if I had to answer them, but I can't. So we never ignored SOPs. We have shown how curfews have done something in addition to SOPs, and we have proven that in addition with respect to numbers from RBC. We've given you the reference. We're talking about, we don't have any reference, but we've given in reference to RBC. So in this case, we win this point that curfews have done their job in addition to SOPs, because without SOPs, we have numbers. With SOPs, we have numbers. And with curfews, we have decreased rate of new cases. Then silence is consent. You never asked us many questions about our points. You never attacked the point of curfews increasing awareness about COVID-19. You never attacked the point that it is curbing the spread. You agreed to that. You have never proven wrong our numbers. You've also never shown how it's not considerate. We've proven that. I don't know. Then there's the first speaker who talked about that should find another plan, another way out. But what was it? I expected it from the second speaker, third speaker, but nothing but just coming here and tell stories from nowhere, from Philippines, whatever, I don't know, but compare things. And then for the safety of people, well, we have proven how it is keeping us safe. And then you've never shown the harms of this curfew. You just came up with something like the accidents, but how do they outweigh the good side we've shown you? And you never even emphasized that throughout the debate. So where are you standing, my dear? You never gave us another way out. I'm sorry, but I thought I'll maybe go home with second mind, but I'm sorry you never convinced me. So please shift your chairs and join us. Thank you.
That means we end with 5-0. And who's taking the debate? Thank you. So, proposing to take the debate. Guys, it was a pleasure. Any questions, please reach out.